Welcome back to the channel. I've got the whiteboard here today because I want to go through 5 programming tips. These tips are pretty much the big rocks I live by for programming, whether it's for a new client of mine or a current client and we're going from one program to the other. I'm sure it's also the principles that Jake uses. It's definitely the principles we use for SJ's programming that you can get for just $1 a day. You can sign up via the notes in the description. So to start it off, we're just going to start with the basics, and it's quite simple as you can see. Number 1 is just determining the number of training days that you can train every week. Obviously it's going to be different person to person. It's going to be determined based on your work commitments, your family commitments. Do you have kids? Do you have a partner? Do you have anything else you do? Do you play sport? So it's pretty much just your commitments outside of the gym is going to determine how many days a week you can get into the gym. Because you want to make your program suitable to your life. That way, you're not changing your life to suit your program. And that's going to help determine what program is going to be best for you. Whether it's, if you can train 3 days a week, a 3-day full body split will probably be best for you. Whereas if you do want to come for 4 days, an upper lower split would be great for you. So just quite simply determining how many days a week you can train. In that regard, I do kind of favor, say if someone says to me, I can train 3 to 4 days a week, I'll always start training 3 days a week, see how that goes. And if they're doing really well with it and they do want to increase it to 4, then we'll do it 4. Obviously, if they really want to give 4 a crack, we'll give 4 a crack and just assess, see how things are going. Best thing about the gym is if something's not working, you can always adapt. If someone's a bit unsure whether it's like 3 or 4, I'll always start with 3, and then that way if we do come for that 4th, it's a bonus. Whereas if you aim for 4 and you're getting 3, it can kind of sometimes seem as a bit of a fail. So always start, I reckon personally, if you're unsure how many days a week, just don't be too hard on yourself. Aim for 2 to 3 and then just go by there, because you can always add on. Number 2 would be exercise selection. So obviously this is going to be different person to person depending on the goals and what you want to get out of the program. Obviously if you're someone that does the big 3 of squat, bench, dead, that's going to be heavily into your program. Or if you want to get good at weightlifting, or if you want to get good at calisthenics. So figuring out exactly what you want out of the program, what exercises you enjoy, particular muscles that you want to grow, that'll be obviously a big factor going into the program. Also, exercise order. This is going to be based off a few things. So number 1 for me personally is what exercises that you want to get best at. So for example, if someone wants to improve their bench press, that will generally be one of the first exercises on that day in the program, because you want to be feeling fresh for it. But you also got to consider your central nervous system and what exercises cause the most fatigue. For example, the other day I was training and I actually made a mistake because I did Romanian deadlifts before back squats. But the Romanian deadlifts really cooked me, and because I was going quite heavy for them, when I came around to do my squats, I only did 1 heavy squat because I was just so cooked from the RDLs. So that's where you do got to consider. So for example, if you're someone that wants to grow your hamstrings, you could easily do a set of leg curls on the start of your session. You can do that as 1, it's a good way to get that knee complex moving. 2, it's not going to be that fatiguing because it is just a machine. And then you can do a set of squats or like a leg press movement, because I can guarantee you if you do some leg curls before some squats, you're going to feel really good. And then you can go into your RDL, because 1, you've already got a set of hamstrings done. That's not going to cause too much CNS fatigue. Then you're going to get into squats, and then you're going to get into your RDL. And then after your RDL, you might be quite fatigued. So also that also is going to be different person to person. So you just got to give your program a crack, assess how you feel, assess what exercises cause the most CNS fatigue, and don't be afraid to change things up time to time. Just always assess and see how things are going. But generally, these are the basics I'll live by. I do have like selection orders that I'll always start with someone, but I'm also never afraid to change things up. For example, like if someone going back to bench press wants to improve on their bench press, sometimes I'll start with a dead hang and then go straight into bench press, or I'll do like a cable row or rear delts before the bench press based on that client and what works well for them. So each person's going to be different. You just got to assess what works best for you and go from there. And just don't be afraid to change things up time to time. If you notice that if you start with bench press, that's when you get the best results, leave it as is. If you notice that if you do an exercise or two before bench press and that works best for you, then do that. So just try things out and go from there. Or number 2 would be determining the volume. And by volume, I mean how many hard sets per week per muscle group. Obviously, that's going to be based on a few things in regards to your goals, what you want out of the program. But it's also going to be impacted by how many training days you're going to be training each week. Because if you're someone that is training, 4 to 5 times a week, you're obviously going to have a lot more hard sets per week per muscle group compared to someone who's only training 2 days per week. Just because you're obviously not going to have 12 to 24 hard sets per week if you're only available to train 1 or 2 days. So obviously the amount of volume is going to be different person to person, but you just got to see what's worked for you in the past. If you are someone that's been training for a while, see that ballpark figure and then distribute that across the amount of training days that you're training in the week. If you are someone that's fairly new to the gym, obviously the general rule for hard sets per week is around 12 to 24. I like to favor around that 12 mark. Like for me personally, if you're training 12 to 16 per sets per muscle group, that's a fair amount in my opinion. And if you're training to a good intensity, by hard we mean anywhere from like RPE 7 and up. So where you've got less than 3 reps left in the tank. And if you're hitting that sweet spot around 12 to 16, I think that's really good. You just got to establish how many hard sets you're going to give yourself, and then you got to distribute that across the amount of days that you're training in the week according to your program, and just stick to that for a period of time and to see how things are going. Number 3 is fairly simple, and it's just don't change too much. It can be quite easy after, say if you're doing a training program and after 3 weeks you're not really seeing much progress and you just want to change things up completely. But how are you going to know what's working and what's not working if you're constantly changing things up? So I like to give something a crack for around 6 to 8 weeks and just assess how things are going. Whether it's a new exercise or it's how many sets you're doing per week, etc. Just trust the process and just give yourself a time frame, and then by that time frame, assess how it's worked for you. Obviously, you can make some minor tweaks week to week, whether it's, I'm not sure if it's a certain exercise after a few weeks you're really hating. Obviously, don't be afraid to change it, especially if it's to the point where you're not wanting to come in on those days because you hate that exercise so much. Or if you're noticing that the training volume is a bit too much and each week you're just too fatigued, obviously that's the thing to change. But overall, I like to keep the program pretty much the same over that 6 to 8 weeks, just so you can really determine what's working and what's not working, and just have a bit of trust in it and just trust the process. Number 4 is squeeze as much as you can out of a program and milk that thing, because generally programs last for around anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks. If you're getting to that 10th week and you're noticing that the progress is still there, weights are going up and up, you're absolutely loving it, don't be afraid to keep doing it, because like if you're still seeing the results, the proof's there in the pudding that the programs are working. So just keep doing it. Obviously, if after 8 to 10 weeks you're getting quite bored of the exercises, but it's still working, obviously that's a good rule to change it up. But you don't need to change it up drastically. Just change a few exercises just to keep it a bit refreshing and a bit exciting. So when you are coming to the gym, it is a bit of a change. But me personally, I really like to squeeze as much as I can out of a program, just especially if the results are there. One of my clients, for example, young Cody, we've been on this program now for around, I believe this is our 8th week, And in the past, we've normally changed it up around this time, but in about 2 weeks, we've got a testing day coming up, and we're just going to leave the program as is. And then after that testing day, we're going to change it up a bit just to keep it a bit refreshing. But I was legit asking him, and he's like, I'm loving it, and we're seeing really good results. So we don't really need to change it, because like if something's working, why do we need to? And he's not bored of it. So that's the most important thing. Obviously, exercise enjoyment is really important, because you want to be coming to the gym and enjoying what you're doing, so because you're just going to get a lot better results. So yeah, that's my opinion. Like, I do sometimes think that people change up their programs just for the sake of it, because it's like, oh shit, it's 8 weeks, got to change it up. But just assess it and just actually like ask yourself, do I want to change it? Do I need to? Like, are the results quite stagnant, etc.? Just don't just feel like you have to change it just for the sake of it. And number 5 is auto-regulate. So this is day-to-day, but also week-to-week. This is going to be heavily based on the person who's doing the program. By auto-regulation, I mean, if in the program you're at week 3 and you're doing bench press and you're doing a top set of 3 reps at about an RP 7-8, but you're noticing in warm-up that everything's feeling very good, and mentally you're feeling very good, physically you're feeling very good, the sets are flying through, and the RPs are low on the sets, and you're feeling like you really want to push a 1 rep max, don't be afraid to do that, because who knows that you might actually do that there and then if you're feeling really good. But also on the other end, if you come to a training day and you see on your program 4 sets of 5 at RP 8, but you do one of your warm-up sets and you're feeling really cooked and it's a lot harder than it usually is, actually listen to yourself and don't be afraid just to take it a little bit easy, or instead of doing 4 sets, do 2 to 3. Just, you are obviously the person who knows your body the most, so actually just assess on how you're feeling that day. But also not just that day, week to week. If you know, for example, I don't know, you missed a training session and you're not going to be able to make it up. You hit 2 of your sessions and you still got 2 more left. Instead of just trying to cram 1 big session in, to think out of the 2 sessions, what exercises are most important to you and your goals, and just combine that into 1 session. That's just one example of that week to week example. Or if you come to a training day and you're quite fatigued, but you get through it, and then you go home, sleep, eat, whatever, and then you come back the next day and you're still feeling quite fatigued, maybe it's a sign that you do need a deload. So, like, I'm not someone that does planned deloads, but I'm always asking my clients and making sure that they're assessing on how they're feeling. And say if we get to the 5th or 6th week in a training block and they're feeling very fatigued and they just feel like they need to take it easy for that week, then great, then we'll do a deload. But I don't like just to plan a deload just every 4 weeks just for the sake of it, because who knows, by that 4th week they might be feeling very good and we want to keep progressing and seeing the results. So that's just one example in regards to that deload. I just went a little bit off topic then, but that's come back to that auto-regulation. Is if you're feeling a bit fatigued, that might be a sign of just have a deload week, or take it a bit easier that day. Or then going back to what I was saying before, if you're feeling very fresh and you're feeling very good and you want to go off the program a bit to push a 1 rep max, like, I'm all for that. So just making sure to listen to your body. I'm not saying to push a 1 rep max every single week if you're feeling good, but just on the days you're feeling good, don't be afraid to go and push the RPEs just a little bit higher, etc. But yeah, these here are just all the big rocks that come into training and a training program, and what I'm always communicating to my clients about how I create a program. These are the things we go through. It's not the only things we go through, but these are pretty much the big rocks that I like to go through when creating a program or creating a new program for a client, etc. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you've got any questions, feel free to comment, send us an email. If there's any certain videos you want us to do, please let us know. We're all for it. Please remember to keep supporting us. Please liking and subscribing to these videos. If you know anyone that you think might like this video, share it to them, share it to your mum, share it to your dad. share it to your dog, share it to whoever. But yeah, thank you.